Today I'll be taking you on a journey through Berea, and this presentation will tell you how to spend 36 hours in Kentucky's craft capital. This is Jessica Bowman. Jessica is a young woman who's recently graduated from Bellarmine University and has a 6-month break before she has to enter the workforce and begin paying off her student loans. She has been an avid adventure tourist, as her mother and father encouraged outdoor activity when she was growing up. Jessica is a Caucasian 21-year-old woman who is single and does not quite have the income, as she just graduated from Bellarmine University. She is riding the Trans-America Bike Trail with 3 other people and wants to stop in Berea to experience the cultural and physical assets that it has to offer. As an art major, Jessica always wanted to see the crafts that Berea makes, and as a Trans-American cyclist, she wanted to check out the trails. Jessica started her journey in East Virginia and has traveled for about 2 to 3 weeks, close to 500 miles. Jessica's travel plan consists of biking from Beattiesville, Kentucky to Berea, Kentucky, leaving at 12 in the afternoon. This trip is expected to take around 8 hours, and she will arrive late at night around 8 to 9 p.m. Times can vary as the trip is around 72 miles and she will need to rest and eat. Jessica is using her trip across America as a way to learn and educate herself through first-hand experiences as she travels through the small towns on the way to Oregon. As a recently graduated college student, her sense of inquiry is as sharp as ever, and she is eager to soak up the history and culture that places like Berea offers. This trip also serves as a form of entertainment, as Jessica finds the idea of cycling across America to be one of her most thrilling accomplishments. As Jessica is a cross-country cyclist, she burns several calories each day and has to replenish her energy stores. This means she must eat lots of food to regain energy to continue her journey. While this is true, Jessica doesn't have lots of money, and she is a recently graduated student who is unemployed and indebted with student loans. This means much of her spending is on food and less on souvenirs and things that shops and stores offer. Jessica is seen as frugal, as she needs to save money and travel with as little weight as possible. This can limit her to only get the basic necessities and avoid contributing to local economy like a normal tourist would. According to our friends traveling from Damascus, it is realistic to spend from $5 to $10 a day on necessities and other amenities. Given that the trail can take 2 to 3 months to traverse, Jessica came prepared with about $2,000 in her account. She's willing to spend about $300 of that in Berea, as she wants to really live the experiences her grandparents told her about when she was younger. Many travelers come in cars and are easily accommodated, as parking is always an option. However, cyclists like Jessica carry everything on their backs and bicycle, and would like their things to stay safe from thieves. Their travel time is much slower, so they value how they spend it very much. For some travelers, hotels and lodgings can accommodate weary adventure tourists. Everything is in their cars, which can be parked in lots. However, people like Jessica travel via bicycle and aren't always welcome with open arms. Most cyclists are frugal and prefer to pop their tin up rather than paying $50 to $100 on a hotel. Cyclists like Jessica can leave with a bad impression if the town they stay in can't accommodate with campgrounds where it is legal to stay in a tent. Luckily, Berea offers places like the Kentucky Campground and RV parking. Jessica graduated from Bellarmine University recently, and she majored in art studies. Having a strong interest in the arts, she is more drawn to small towns that offer artistic, cultural assets. Berea, being a craft and folk capital of Kentucky, was an easy pick for her. Word of mouth helped Jessica discover Berea, as her grandparents loved to visit Berea in the summers. They would then bring back beautiful brooms and other varieties of woodcraft and tell stories of the journeys to the local points of interest like England Falls. Jessica also learned of Berea while she was in the art program at Bellarmine. Before flying to Berea, Jessica looked at the www.berea.com website to view all the attractions, and to get there she used maps and cell phone GPS. Who to contact? Jessica relies heavily on her cell phone to guide her across the trails, and so her information gathering abilities was limited to her Google search. When looking up Berea Travel and Tourism, she came to Berea.com. According to the Contact Us part of the Berea Travel and Tourism website, Jessica found that she could contact the Visitor Center by emailing info@berea.com or calling the number that they provide on the website. The Visitor Center is located in the heart of Old Town, a hub of Berea's many shops and restaurants. The Visitor Center is knowledgeable of the city and provided great insights on where she should go. As Jessica entered the Appalachian region, she learned more and more in bits and pieces of how it developed and who some of the major figures were that established it. One person that she heard very often was Daniel Boone. So a factor that helped influence her decision to travel to Berea were the Daniel Boone markers that she could stop by and read on the way. Some say that Appalachia's history is America's history, so it's important for her to learn what Daniel Boone did and experience the places he visited. While the Spoon Bread Festival is not until September, Jessica had heard tales of the marathon they host and found Berea to be more biker and hiker friendly. Knowing this, she felt more welcome as a cyclist. While looking on the Berea.com website, Jessica found that there is a regularly updated travel guide that can be downloaded as a PDF or sent via the mail. This guide contains all major attractions, lodging, and restaurants. It also contains dates to events in Berea, such as the Spoon Bread and the 4th of July festivals. When looking for lodging, Jessica found many generic hotels such as the Night Inn and the Comfort Inn. Staying there would help her save money, as she doesn't spend a lot on lodging on most days, but she wanted to get the full Berea experience. Nothing screams Berea as much as the Boone Tavern Hotel, so Jessica made sure to make reservations there before leaving Beattiesville. Around 8:30, Jessica's first stop on her journey through Berea is at the Boone Tavern Hotel. At first, the hotel was shockingly nice, but that is because Jessica and her party have been sleeping in tents for the last couple of weeks. The rooms ran for about $100 a night, but Jessica was smart and decided to go halfway with one of her friends. Having heard of the Boone Trace Trail, Jessica asked one of the knowledgeable Boone Tavern workers if Daniel Boone walked through the area. Sadly, he did not. However, there is a marker outside of the Boone Tavern that honors his achievements. The Boone Tavern is located in the center of the college square, which was convenient for the cyclists, as they were close to the attractions and had bikes to travel on. In the morning, Jessica and her cyclist friends needed to rest and relax, as their muscles were fatigued and they still felt weary from their trip so far. They start their morning with a breakfast in the Boone Tavern dining room. The plates generally run for about $10, which is a bit pricey, but the food is definitely worth it. Jessica ordered the big city breakfast and found that it was very delicious and worth spending the money. She identified that the atmosphere and the food was an experience that should be valued. The next stop on their journey through Berea was the College Square. Being in the Boone Tavern, Jessica's eyes glazed in awe as she looked at all the student-made furniture, noticing the intricacies of their work. So her and the cyclist set out to explore the many stores along the College Square. The first stop was the College Bookstore, which sold Berea College brand-name goods, crafts, and snacks. An interesting part of the bookstore was that Jessica saw a student weaving one of the blankets on a wood machine. This act of live art was very profound, and Jessica enjoyed the experience of watching the student make the crafts. The next stop was Peacecraft, which not only sold crafts and clothing, but had a very admirable mission. When looking at their website, Jessica found that they strive to provide the artisans and farmers in developing countries a fair price for their products. You'll find baskets, musical instruments, toys and games, and home decor items. They also carry a wide variety of clothing and accessories. Experiencing the art was one thing, but the goals Peacecraft had were most inspiring. The next stop was around the corner at Warren May's woodworking shop. There, Jessica and the cyclist walked around admiring the skillful crafts Warren May put into his work. Jessica was especially moved as she saw that he infused his artistic expression with Appalachian influence. The dulcimers were as beautiful as they were pricey. The final stop along the exploration of the College Square was the Log House Cabin. Here the tourists saw all of the crafts that the school offered in one place. It could be described as the Toys R Us of Berea crafts. Around noon, the gang stopped at Popolino's for lunch. They found the place via Yelp and read good reviews, which influenced their decision to eat there. A review that was especially eye-catching for Jessica was one made by Malika Okayo. She read that they were accommodating to vegetarians, which was good, as Jessica tended to avoid meat in her diet. The cyclists really enjoyed the things they saw among the College Square shops, but constantly heard of a place called Old Town, or the Artisan Village. So using their Yelp and TripAdvisor apps, they came across a place in Berea that thrived in shops and crafts. This was undoubtedly their next stop along the craft and trade crawl. The cyclists' first stop along their journey through Old Town was Gastineau's studio. It was revered in TripAdvisor and Yelp reviews as a place that offers art for sale, but more importantly offers experiences. Reviews showed that people learned how to take discs of pewter and turn them into functional cups of jewelry. This gave a lasting impression on the cyclists, as they not only appreciated art, but they learned how to make it. The Old Town Fudge Factory was the next stop in the journey through the Artisan Village. Here, the cyclists met the owner, Mary Hayes. She has been making fudge for almost 30 years now and is committed to giving the ultimate canning experience to travelers like Jessica. The hospitality was great, the cyclists felt very accommodated, and the fudge was delicious. As the former EPG student Jacob said, "I broke bank buying all the delicious treats." Their final stop before eating was the old Amish farm store. Here the cyclists got to see some interesting food items, such as toe jam, and other items like specialty lotion. The employees were kind, and the atmosphere was fun and inviting. For dinner, the cyclists enjoyed a meal at the Village Trough. The restaurant was an open environment that served good food at an even better price. The food was local, and as cyclists who eat on the road, they could tell the difference. Not only was the environment and service accommodating, but there was also live music that served as an entertainment. The Village Trough rightfully deserved the cyclist's 5-star review on Yelp. The next day, using TripAdvisor, the cyclist group found a great hiking spot known as the Pinnacles. However, the trailhead known as Indian Fort was their first stop, as it gave entry to the Pinnacles, but was also an important piece of history to admire. According to Berea College website, it is one of the oldest managed private forests in the United States. The forest has been producing wood products and drinking water for Madison County since 1898. Maybe the most thrilling piece of the journey was hiking up the Pinnacles. The reviews on TripAdvisor were correct when saying that the Pinnacles were a good escape. For those like Jessica who recently experienced the struggle of college and busy life, the Pinnacles offer a quiet place to enjoy nature in isolation. Using Yelp, the cyclists found the Main Street Cafe, which was conveniently located next to the Boone Tavern Hotel. They found that the food was delicious, but the service was a bit frantic, as the restaurant was full of what seemed like students on a tour. It was a good bite to eat before the bikers would go out. The final venture before retiring back to the Boone Tavern for dinner was at the Arrowhead Stables. Here, Harry Isaacs has owned and operated the stable since the early 70s. There the cyclists were introduced to Harry's horses, which of course were friendly. Harry helped the cyclists mount some of the horses and taught them to ride. This is much different than riding a bike. It makes you wonder if people rode horseback across America. Finally, the cyclists retired to the Boone Tavern and ate at the hotel restaurant. The food is known as 4-star quality, and the plates generally go up to $30. Jessica ordered the seared scallops and found that the meal would leave her with a long-lasting impression of Berea. The delicious food was well worth the price, and she will remember the taste in her mouth as she hits the road in the morning and reverts back to her frugal trail mix diet. Overall, the trip was very satisfactory, and the money she set aside for her trip was well spent. The town of Berea offered a diverse array of assets, from the Pinnacles to the shops in Old Town. Jessica, without a doubt, will return in the future and hopes to bring her friends. As a cyclist, Jessica is an avid outdoorsman and heavily enjoyed her time in the Pinnacles. The breathtaking views and peaceful atmosphere made the Pinnacles a must-recommend on her list. To satisfy her art interest, she most enjoyed Peacecraft, as it not only made crafts but offered materials to rural artists and farmers in rural countries. This was inspiring, to say the least. As far as food goes, the Village Trough was the tastiest and left her with the impression that Berea values local economic growth, which appealed to her own values. Value assessment. For Jessica, the prices came off as kind of high, but Upon close reflection, she found that the quality was so high that it was reasonable. Because souvenirs and other trinkets were just added weight, she only spent money on food and lodging, as well as the horse riding. The financial impact she had was not very heavy. As a Trans-American cyclist, she came in with frugal mindset and only spent money on the necessities. Her expenditures on food are estimated to be around 120, for activity only 20, and for lodging about 100. This is measured, of course, through the hotels and restaurants. Total, Jessica spent about $250 total, which was below her budget of $300. While she really wanted a souvenir, it was extra baggage and it just couldn't be helped. Next steps. To improve upon Berea's trail experience, I suggest that we increase the signage in the pinnacles and Indian Fort to better accommodate hikers and bikers and adventure tourists. And also, the Indian Fort was not located on Yelp or TripAdvisor, and the information about it on the Berea College website was very minimal. So I would suggest that we increase awareness so that people will make decisions to visit. And that is it.